Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Omochukwu, depending on your location. Please subscribe to this channel, like and share so that you help us propagate the truth. Now, the news update. Your call for reconciliation marks of lies, hypocrisy, ensure arrest of MC Olomo. Others, if you are serious, Atiku lambas Tinubu. Now, the candidate of People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the just concluded 2023 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has dismissed Nigeria's president-elect as declared by INEC, Bola Tinubu's call for healing, yes, after a violent election, as the height of hypocrisy. He commended the United States government for condemning the violent and ethnically charged election in Lagos State. Tinubu had, in a statement you recall, he personally signed, said he was saddened by the infractions in some states, as well as the divisive rhetoric that characterized the polls. But Atiku's Special Assistant on Public Communication, Mr. Frank Shaibu, in a statement on Tuesday, described Tinubu's statement as an afterthought and hypocritical garbage. He said it was curious that Tinubu was talking about reconciliation after his minions attacked Igbo voters in Lagos in order to give his party, the All Progressive Congress (APC), advantage during the governorship election. Shoaibu said Tinubu had continued to protect transport hooligans, politicians, and even traditional leaders in Lagos who were seen on video threatening non-indigents. He said in his words, I quote him now, Tinubu's latest statement is laced with hypocrisy and lies. For a whole month, traditional leaders, transport hooligans, and politicians in his camp threatened non-indigents, but Tinubu kept mute. His lackey, MC Olomo, who is a member of his presidential campaign council, was seen on video threatening Igbo people, but Tinubu said nothing. His campaign spokesman, Bayo Onanuga and Femi Fanikayode, went on social media to warn Igbo people against exercising their franchise, but Tinubu looked the other way. Traditional rulers imposed curfews and went about slaughtering goats and placing them in front of polling units, but Tinubu said nothing. A traditional leader and council chairman in Gbara community, Etiosa local government, summoned non-indigents to a meeting where they threatened non-indigents with eviction if they failed to vote for the APC, but Tinubu said nothing. Those invited by the police ignored invitations because Tinubu is shedding them. On the day of election, many people who looked Igbo were beaten and prevented from voting, but Tinubu kept mute. Now that his party has stolen the election, he has found his voice and is preaching reconciliation. He should tell that to the Marines. If Tinubu is serious, he should ensure that all those found culpable are arrested and prosecuted. But we know he cannot do this because he is their godfather. End of quote. Now Shaibu described the statement by the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, condemning the violence meted out to the Igbo as a welcome development. He, however, said the U.S. ought to have gone further by mentioning the names of those found culpable and exposing the identities of those it would hit with visa restrictions. Atiku's aide added, he said, and I quote, "We commend the U.S. and the EU governments for condemning the violence and intimidation that marred the governorship election, especially in Lagos, where Tinubu's henchmen held the state to ransom. But the U.S. knows the identities of the perpetrators of violence and ought to have mentioned their names. MC Olomo is an American citizen. The U.S. must also go further by mentioning the names of those of others, including the traditional rulers in Lagos who were complicit. The U.S. has in the past openly condemned Vladimir Putin of Russia and others found wanting in other countries. This is not the time for political correctness. Those who will be slammed with visa bans should be named and shamed." End of quote. But Shaibu also maintained that there could be no reconciliation without restitution. He said anything short of this would not heal anyone's. He further argued that Tinubu has shown from the electioneering that he had no plan to unite Nigeria, but was only after one thing, that's power and the resources of Nigeria. He said, I quote again, Tinubu is only after power. Before he took over power, Lagos was known for its urban and accommodating nature. The late Nnamdi Azikiwe built his political base and business empire in Lagos. Mbonu Ojike, born in Imo State, was the deputy mayor of Lagos in 1951. Many others from around the country and beyond built businesses and political careers in Lagos and molested. But on Bola Tinubu's watch, Lagos has become an intolerant state where non-indigens are openly beaten on election day and threatened with eviction if they don't vote for his party. Now he seeks reconciliation. What a joke! There will be no reconciliation until MC Oluomo and all his minions who took part in issuing threats and brutalizing people are diligently prosecuted. End of quote. And so that's the PDP statement concerning the reconciliation being touted by the president-elect has been declared by the umpire that has been seen as bias. All right. And so they are saying, look, Bola Tinubu, you will not just come out from the moon and tell us that you are seeking for reconciliation. Whereas we have noticed that all these things have been happening under your watch. You have seen them threatening the Igbos almost for a month now, immediately after the presidential election conducted on February 25th. The threat began. Intimidation, harassment, killings, burning out markets. Yes, spare parts markets, largely owned by the Igbos. Business areas being owned by Igbos, being destroyed. You haven't said anything, or you didn't say anything all this while. Why now that you have succeeded in using intimidation, harassment, and vote buying, rigging, manipulation, ethnic profiling, everything to declare your godson, your stooge, the winner of Lagos State gubernatorial election held on 18th March, I beg your pardon. So why now? So you have found your voice. And if you are serious, go and arrest them. Declare for the arrest. Call for the arrest. MC Oluomo, your spokespersons, Onanuga and Fani Kayode. Let them be arrested by the DSS or police. Then we'll know that you are serious. That's what PDP is saying. All right. And they commended the international community that condemned the outrage, that condemned the evil perpetrated on the people of Lagos State because of one man that wanted to retain Lagos as his own inheritance, and said the US should go further to name those they have been compiling to ban or to issue a visa ban. They should name them. It is time to name and shame them. That's what